Hey everybody, thanks for hanging at Customikes, checking out Oz Welch. Built some incredible cars over the last few decades, and we got to sit down with him, have an interview, and learn a little bit about where he's coming from and where he's going and what's he doing. And I welcome you to come along for this journey of discovery with Oz. Yes, 399 chop tops. Incredible. So what we're going to see is in the shop, and we're going to talk about what we see and do with Oz, and towards the end of the video, you get to see this baby. Oh my God. Hey everybody. Customikes here. We are at Oz Welch, the famous customizer up in Oroville, California. And we're just here going to get the lowdown of one of the kings of customizers in California that has built a pile of cars. Do you know how many cars you have built or finished?
No, not finished cars. Chops, I kept track of my tops.
Yeah.
And so I'm 399 right now, getting ready to start 400.
And everybody's itching to get that number 400.
On that 400 spot. I thought I was going to make 500. I don't think I'll make 500, but you never know.
That Kid Dean made 500.
He did, huh?
He told me he did 500.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, he is a hustler.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
he gets the work in and out. He gets it done. He gets it painted. He get
Yeah.
And it's part of his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an interesting job. Yeah, I want to tell you thank you.
No problem.
For taking the time to let me come up. I'm getting goosebumps because I we did the Ferruas yesterday. I stopped in at Brad Matheson's yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to you today.
Busy weekend, huh?
Yeah, it's and the motorhome's been really good with it. I have everything I need in there. I can charge the equipment. I can be out here anywhere.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Doing the thing and just sitting here with all this stuff and all this craziness and get a chance to get to know you a little bit better and share it with our audience. Or I'm fortunate enough to have a worldwide audience that appreciate this stuff. And I know my head is kind of in a niche thingy. Mm-hmm. Customs is a very narrow band, so to say.
But to have that many followers for doing what you do and what I do is pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a lot of followers.
But I'm just trying to give to them. Most of our audience will, and thank you, by the way, most of our audience will never have the opportunity to sit here visit you and me, or even come to California, or go to a car show here, or enjoy the stuff that we get to do every day. Yeah. And it's a fantastic thing. I'm just, I'm in awe.
Yeah.
I'm in awe. And so thank you for that opportunity. And even today, just walking around your yard and looking at all the gold from my perspective that's here was really cool. So how did you get started in this? What was it that triggered you?
My first paint job, I was 9. Wow. I remember that. I was 9 years old. My brother had a pretty new car at the time. It was a 69 Toyota Corolla.
Okay.
And that's yellow was a new, popular. And so he wanted a yellow, Corvette yellow, and he said I could do whatever I wanted to do. So that's what I did.
That's a good brother.
It was awesome. I was young, 9 years old. He said, "Hey, let's just do whatever you want." I sprayed it Corvette yellow, and then we added. Since he said I could do whatever I wanted to do, then Art Hempsel and the guys were doing the Starburst stuff and the Paisley. Designs, and so I went crazy on it. I did Starburst and just whatever, and I thought it looked awesome. I would like to see it now. Had it look like junk. Looking back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But being young, being first, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
that's the only thing that really matters is that you created some art, and you loved it, and the people around you loved it. That's really all that matters.
My brother loved it and gave me $100. So I was good.
For the time, that was fantastic.
I was golden.
I got to double check one thing here. Just so I'm not Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, both of them are on. Okay.
Yep.
I made a mistake, and you guys probably going to see it later. But I did an interview in Texas at this crazy, what is it, Cook's Garage, I think it's called.
Yeah.
25 acres of freaking gas pump stuff, and the microphones went off.
Oh no way! Batteries went dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just like, yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
So I wanted to double check. I don't want to miss this
Yep.
opportunity. So you're painting this thing. You get $100 for it, and that kind of got you going.
That sparked me.
And Himsol has been a huge influence on me too. You know, when I built the Mini Merc, one of the shows I went to was Balon's.
In Auburn.
Yeah, and after we painted and we had an Rosa show, and he comes up. I pulled into the host hotel, and he comes up and he's standing in front fender and just like this and looking. And I come back, open the door, and he goes, "Is this yours?" And I go, "Yeah, it's mine." I didn't know who it was at the time. And he goes, "Pure art." I turned around and walked away.
That's funny.
And I was like, "Wow."
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, so you know him, Rod Powell.
Oh yeah.
And Reesner.
Yep.
And, you know, there's what was the interior guy's name in Bay Area? Shahagan.
Oh yeah, Shahagan.
Is he around still?
You know what? I don't know if he's doing anything anymore or not. Yeah. Tell you the truth, I don't think he is.
Yeah, but he did some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that whole crew, you know, was living in the Bay Area at the time. You know,
exactly.
Who else inspired you?
Oh man, all the, you know, Winfield.
Yeah.
Winfield was a big part of, you know, me trying to study fades. And then I'm a big sunset person, like we talked about. I love sunsets, so I kind of look at them, I take pictures and I study them, and I look at how the two colors blend together. So I look at sunsets for my fades a lot. You know, so
Mother Nature is an awesome artist.
You ain't gonna beat it.
And you're in a great place for it too, where you're at.
No, there's good sunsets here. So I come out here quite a bit and look and watch the sun go down, take some pictures, and just like the colors are just amazing. So that, and then, you know, taking Winfield's blends and just kind of doing my thing. Yeah. So
it's like, how did he do it? How did he get it that way? Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you started with paint. How did you end up going into chopping cars? And
I think I was probably 15. I think I was 15 years old, and my dad bought me well, this is a long story, then I'll make it shorter. But I ended up with my first car being a truck, 54, 55 F100. And it just, you know, at that point, you know, there was a lot of crazy 60s, early 70s. Chopped with crazy paint, and I just wanted to chop. So I told my dad I was going to chop it. And he got mad at me.
Oh yeah, you're going to ruin the truck.
You're going to ruin it. And I says, I don't want it unless I chop it. So anyways, that was my first chop. So, and it was I brazed it. You know, didn't have no MIGs or nothing back then. So I just gas welded the whole thing. So. Got the truck. I never finished the truck back. You know, finished it. I painted the firewall and did a bunch of stuff, and then. That just once I started chopping, it was just like kind of my thing. I love to chop. So
it become almost your signature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you have plenty of stuff to look around. I took some pictures. I'll promise I'll put them through the video.
I got a couple things laying around. Here. Kind of crazy.
I mean, is that there's a 62?
No, that's close. 61 Caddy, and I put a 59 roof on it.
Yeah.
So a little bit different.
There'll be a picture coming up, I promise.
I like the 59s. I like the 60s. A lot of people are doing them. I still like them. Yeah. But I wanted kind of something a little bit different. I like the roof line on them. This car's a little bit smaller finned, a smaller car. Yep. And so I'm doing that for myself. That's why it's not done.
Yeah, well, I know how that goes. I have a little shop of not done. Yeah, I had a 62 convertible that I chopped. Yeah. That's still not
You
finished.
Did, huh?
Yeah.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I sold it to an Australian here a little while ago because I had 12 acres down in Sage full of cars. And that was one of those. Actually, I was working on that one. I was working on the chop top when I bought this car. And, you know, I picked that. It's all good. I picked this Volvo up in San Carlos, and 2.5 weeks later, it was chopped. The quarters were done, the skirts were done, the Mercury overrider was on it. I had cut the grill out, and it was semi-gloss black.
Wow.
In 2.5 weeks before Paso, and then I drove it to Paso.
Wow.
And
that's
then
jamming pretty good.
Yeah, and then over the next, it's good. It's all right. Cute little dog, huh? But yeah, then the caddy got on the back burner, and then I spent the next 4 years finishing that car and putting it in a roaster show, and then Larry Knudsen offered me his shop and apartment in the walnut orchard if I built his Cadillac.
Oh.
And so I quit my job, and that's what started Customikes. So I never got to the Cadillac, and then, here it is 40 years later, and I'm just like, and then Aussie made me in bid on it, and I'm just like, you know what? I haven't done anything within 40 years. I'm working on the next mini Merc and a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, something has to give, and I don't have the space, and we sold the property, la la la. So, but I've had six or seven 60 Cadillacs.
You have, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I bought 4 of them in one batch. But, the 62 has always been close to my heart. So when I saw the 61 there, it's pretty cool. So
kind of different.
Yeah. So what was the first car after the truck?
I did about 3 trucks in a row. I did 2 55s, then a 56, and I overly chopped the 56, but that's what I did.
Do you still have it?
No, that was long. That was years.
It's like, how much did you chop it?
I probably took out 7 inches or something. Yeah, it was a lot. It was it was really radical.
Well, I mean, you get to as you start chopping cars, you look at other people's stuff, and then it's like there's always a car I should have taken another inch.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't cure that until you cut that inch out and you go, oh, crud.
Yes.
That was too much.
A half inch is a lot. When you get it down to almost a quarter inch, it ends up going fast. I mean,
I think after you take net 3, it exponentially gets more difficult.
Yeah.
And it starts to look out of proportion.
Yeah, exactly.
But most people don't realize too, net 3 straight down, if you look at the car from the side, will mean, depending on the angle of the pillars, it might mean 5 inches in the pillar or 7 inches in the back.
100%.
In order to get 3. Yeah. So don't get confused when people tell you how much they chop it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You look at the net straight up and down, roughly in the middle of the side. Mm-hmm. But 2 to 3 is a lot of chop. Well, depending on the car. Yeah. My hearse, I took 7.5 inches of that.
Yeah, wow.
But they were tall to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then when I was done chopping it, I wish I had either chopped it more or unchopped the front windshield, because that one's out of proportion. But that's how you learn. You don't learn it until you chop on too much.
Exactly.
It's hard to put the stuff back in. Mm-hmm. It's easy to cut another quarter inch.
Yeah.
Not an inch, not a half inch, just cut a quarter.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's more of a paint add and put it back. And I've done, believe me, I've done that before.
Yeah.
I'll chop something and think I like it, and I normally would just leave it and walk away from it, and walk in the shop and do something else and kind of let it grow on me. And at any point I look at it and go, I don't really like it, and then I'm redoing it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
when I chopped the Mini-Merc wagon, I prepped for like 2 or 3 days, taped up. I thought about it. I'm adding little marks on the tape, cut here and there, and and I got carried away. And then I went and bought a brand new sawzall, because I wanted a fresh sawzall, a fresh stash of blades, and 11:30 at night, I should have just gone to bed and cut it the next morning. But I'm like, I wanted to see it. So I whacked it all off, and then I set one side up, and I clamped it in place, and I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. Then I go around to the other side, and I clamp that side up, and I go back to the front, and I look back at it, and they're at 2 different heights.
No way.
Because I cut the wrong side. I cut an inch too much off of one side. And I'm just
what side you like better?
Well, that's the hard part. It's like, I love the raw look of the inch too much. But you come out the next morning and
it's a little much.
Well, and most regulation is actually 7 inches of vertical space. And that's after the moldings and the rubber in. You have to have, looking like straight to the side, you got to have 7 inches vertical, not this way, this way.
Yeah.
Of visual space to look through. That's technically, I've never gotten called on it, but
I haven't either.
Yeah, but The other thing you got to think about too is, and most people think, you know, I have a little bit with me now. You cut too much.
Oh yeah.
How the hell do you get out?
Some of them are rough.
Yeah, you can't get out if the car catches fire or any of those things.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to be able
Yeah.
to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing to think of. But
Yeah.
I'm getting sidetracked
Yeah.
there. So, so you cut a bunch of those, and okay, what was the car?
I'm trying to think here what first car I chopped. Man, I don't remember what the first car was. It might have been a Model A.
Yeah. That's a good one to start with too.
I did a lot of Model A's, and I did a couple 32s and some 34s, and then I know Merc wise, that car up there was my first Merc I done. And,
oh really?
Yeah, and
We
I
gotta
bought
catch a
I
shot
bought
of
that
that.
when I was 18, and so I chopped that car when I was 18.
Hang on a second. Let me just show them. That was your first
That
Merc?
was my first Merc. I was 18 years old and I bought it. Took every penny I had, scrounged and everything. And I bought it was all original black Merc.
Wow.
And I dropped it, little flathead in it, drove it around for like a lot of years. The flathead gave me a lot of issues and a lot of problems.
They always do.
And so I did it, and then I ended up sectioning the car years later. The car sectioned.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got crazy with it and kind of making more of a show car out of it than a driver, and it just kind of set. So
yeah, it's and I mean, you look around the shop and stuff. I mean, you know, like for me, Rod Powell was a huge influence. I painted Glenn Stegman's car in his booth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so funny. I rented it from him for 3 days, and he told me it's going to take 5. And I'm like, no, I'll get it done in 3.
Uh-huh.
And he just laughed at me and let me have it for the week. But in between coats, I got to sit in his office.
Really cool.
And look through his art books and doodles and just chat with him. And it was some really formative years. And I got to meet all the cool people that worked with him. All the kids that are now customizers, and they got their own. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, like I said, formative.
Yeah.
Who did you go spend time with and learn stuff?
You know what? I didn't really have time to go spend.
No?
I just jumped on in it when
you
I was
just
a
went
kid.
in, all in?
I had kids at early age. So I'm having kids at 18. So I got into it for a passion, but I also got into it because that was what I did to make money. It's either that or go get a job somewhere else that I wasn't going to be good at.
Yeah.
So I figured I would just, jump right in and do my thing. And so it was a struggle. You know, there's young guys that start off right now, and they look at me now and think, oh man, you got the dream job, but it don't start off as a dream job. You know, I started off a kid with no money and
that's not unusual, you know. Especially this, you know. But what I love about this part is that most of them have that story.
Yeah. I think you have to have it.
Yeah. Because most people give up.
Yeah.
They cut a top and then it's like they get overwhelmed and it's like and then it stops.
Yeah.
But to finish a chop, including the trim and the glass and the moldings and make it not leak and make the windows go up and doors close and
everything sealed and closed correctly and proportions back right and everything work right.
Yeah. There's a different group of people that get to that point, you know. And I mean, it's not easy.
No.
It is not easy. And you know, it's frustrating, like when people do these I'm going to chop the top in the weekend type of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's all fine and dandy. I can chop a top in an hour.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Just whack it off, whack the pieces off, set it back down, clamp it in place. Oh, it's done. Yeah. But that's just the beginning.
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning.
Yeah. That's your canvas.
Yeah.
Is all that is.
But then the finer details and the flow and how the turn goes. And I spend more time thinking about where I'm going to cut and why than actually cutting and welding and all that type of stuff. Because it's so easy just to cut in a corner and cut it out and lay it back down and weld it back.
Yeah.
But if the corners aren't flowing and the lines aren't right.
I think a lot of that comes with the more tops you do.
True.
Because I could look back and think, I remember doing all the tape and laying it out and get back and think, and honestly, I don't really think. I can visualize it done.
Yeah.
Maybe because I've done so many.
But that's another point, though. It's most customizers that I have met that are even somewhat successful can think three-dimensionally.
Yeah.
And they don't need a drawing.
Yeah.
And they instinctively know when something's not looking right.
Yeah.
And the good ones will cut that crap off and do it again.
100%.
Yeah.
You know how many cars this was one of them. I had this car done in the booth, and I walked in there. I walked away from it for a couple days, and I opened up the door, and I went in there, and it was like, it didn't turn me on when I opened the door. It was like I had to find a spot on it that I liked, that the color looked good, and I said, I'm not having it. And so I took and sanded the whole thing back down again and redid it.
Well, it looks good.
It looks good. It's gonna get a facelift coming up here in maybe this year, maybe.
That's the other thing too. I mean, people think your cars are timeless, but you get bored with them too.
Yeah.
You know? Or what I find myself doing on this car, like the door frames, I did those 3 times.
Yeah.
So I ruined 6 doors.
Wow.
In the process, because I didn't like the turn, and I didn't understand the difference between a radius and a sweep.
Yeah.
And there are almost no radiuses on the car. They're all sweeps.
Yeah.
And when you start understanding that, things starts to look okay. You know.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting thing. But even the camera is sitting on one of 2, what most people would consider a completely asinine project.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, we jump forward in history here, but can this is one of your Mercs, right?
No.
Or is it that one?
That one there's my Merc.
Okay, the green one is yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was probably, a lot of people think I really messed up by doing what I did. But I'm really happy that I did what I did on it. I chopped a bunch of Mercs after that Merc. That Merc I chopped 40 years ago-ish.
Okay.
And I drove it, got 34,000 miles on it, driving it around in primer. Then I finished it, painted it green. And then I chopped a bunch of Mercs after that. One of them with Anthony's 51 Merc that I done, the dark emerald green 51 Merc.
Okay,
So I did it, and I really like the way the top turned out. I like it better than my top. So I thought, I want to redo my car, a little bit more chop on it, like Anthony, like I did Anthony's.
Yeah.
And so, just one day, I posted, I'll sell my roof to someone who has a Merc, and I want their stock
untouched roof.
Yeah. And so I posted on Facebook. It lasted about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine now, he wasn't a buddy then. This guy got a hold of me and says, "That's my screensaver. That Merc is on my screensaver.
Yeah.
For years, I had to have that top." So I said, "Are you serious?" He PayPal'd me money, so he wasn't joking.
Boom.
Yep, done deal. I cut it off. I put it on there. Since then, he became probably one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
Like family.
Yeah.
And so if I don't ever finish my car again and get it back together again, it was worth it to me to have his friendship.
Yeah,
he turned into a really good friend.
That is just the coolest thing. Another one of those coolest things about our culture. Because it's like, very few of my customers are customers.
Yeah.
They turn, most of them have been with me for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And so I totally get that connection. And it's part of that what makes this culture different. It's the car's the glue, but it's the people that come together.
Yeah.
With the glue.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot, but I don't care if it's a rickshaw in Vietnam or one of those diesel-powered little canoe thingies.
Yeah.
If they think it's cool and they modified it and they built it and, it's cool. But I can talk to one of those customizers in any part of the world and they have the same kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And there's very little competition and it's beautiful sharing. I was talking to Brad Masterson and Jan, and they were talking about one of his first trucks that he built, and he put a Japanese engine in it because that's what he found that was working in the local junkyard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he could afford it.
Yeah.
And then later on, a kid from Japan came, and he took pictures of his ride, and he goes, you know, that's sacrilege in Japan.
Yeah.
You can't put a
Yeah.
Japanese engine in an American
Yeah,
car. But Brad made it okay.
Yeah, pretty funny.
It is funny. So I just love that part of the culture, you know, and how they help each other and make each other grow. That's, you know. So let me show them the cars here. So you did the green one, you said 40 years ago.
40 years ago. The paint's not 40 years old. The chop in the car and the chassis and all the stuff is 40 years old. And I drove it a lot of years.
Yeah, because I've seen it. Everything. I think John took a couple of good pictures of it too. And
I've taken it everywhere. It's been every color primer you can think of. It's been pink, peach, black, teal.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. It was like every 3 weeks I think I sanded it and reprimered it. Probably the funnest part of me ever owning that car, not realizing it at the time.
Yeah.
Was driving and having fun with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the, you know, but he cut it off. He cut the top off.
Literally cut the whole top of, and I did that right there.
Yeah.
Because my window frames were done, my glass was done, my interior was done, the headliner was done, so I just let him have everything.
Yeah. So literally from the belt line up.
Yes.
He took a finished car and added it to this car because that guy loved it.
Yep.
And I mean, the amount of less work. I mean, yes, is it work? It's a pile of work.
Yeah.
But when you don't have to do the window frames, you don't have to do the glass, you don't have to do the
that
whole...
top ended up being easy because I just cut it right at the bottom of the A-pillars.
Yeah.
Grafted it on there. And now the window frames are done, the glass is done, all the stainless is done.
Yeah. Stainless too.
Yes. Everything's done on that car. So that car's done top-wise.
Yeah.
And then I get to do my top and chop it the way I kind of want it. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a wicked car too.
It's going to be cool. The car's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be pearl white with a lot of green scallops and a kind of a little bit of a lowrider feel to it, a little bit.
Okay.
But it's going to be a custom with a little bit of a lowrider feel to it.
But you know what? It's like John De La Pola says. He always says a custom is a reflection of the owner.
Yeah.
And it truly is.
Yeah.
It truly is a reflection of the owner. And so a lot of times we might not like what somebody's doing. I got to make sure I've got this aimed right. We not like what, sorry about that, guys. We may not like what somebody's doing with something, but it's their car. They paid for it.
That's their choice.
Yeah. And even like the Phantom Mini Merc I'm building, that was almost a virgin rust-free Volvo wagon.
I made some people mad.
Oh my God. But it's like, if I wouldn't have taken that car when I did, it would have gone to the crusher.
Yeah.
They were getting evicted, and the tow guy was just going to take the car.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine knew, he said, "Aren't you looking for one of these?" And he was like, "Okay, we'll come and get it." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be there on Monday." And he's like, "No, you don't understand. You need to be here in 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
You know? And I actually cannibalized 5 other cars for parts.
Wow, to go and when picked
before this car showed up.
No way.
Yeah. And literally it's been like 30 years before the car showed up.
Wow.
And I've had this car in my head for a long time. But so crazy things, you know? Crazy things happen. You just never know. And if you want it to look a certain way, and I mean, I totally get. What was his name?
His name's Ed.
Ed. Okay.
Ed Pinkston.
So Ed has been sitting in front of his computer, looking at that damn screen.
Yep. He said for years.
For years.
Years and years and years. And looking at that
I'd
top.
love to have that car.
And I guess he had this Lincoln in storage for a lot of years also, and wanted to chop it and do all the stuff to it.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out, and it just.
And he was just on Facebook at the right time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It literally, I think it was probably 3 minutes or something like that, and he just.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, and I was like, "What's he doing?" I'm like, "What is going on?"
I, you know, it's a lot of times, you know, I'll think, "Hey, maybe I'll sell that car and I'll post it up for sale," and then I'll chicken out and pull it up. But I ain't had time to back out on it. It's like I posted it, bam, it was done. It was over. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but look at what it turned into.
It's going to be good.
Lifetime frameship.
Yeah, yeah.
I love what you did on the hood. Let me show you that. The way the hood sweeps into the pillar.
That's different. Yeah, I did a little bit different than I normally do on a Merc. I did just a little sweep up. Instead of having the 2 separate body lines that are like normal on a Merc, I did it just a single.
I really like that.
I kind of like it too.
It's clean, and it's a trouble spot on the Mercs.
Yeah. exactly. And it was worse on this Lincoln. For some reason, the hood on the Lincoln was heavier and longer and all the stuff, and it was going to end up pinching back there anyway. So they don't pinch now. Everything flows and opens up and shuts perfect. So
yeah. Oh, you did it different than on this one.
That was different. That's the normal way that you do them right there. I mean, you can do them thicker, more radius, whatever you want, but that's your normal.
I really like the way the Lincoln turned out.
Yeah, that's gonna be a cool car. Put Lincoln push button door handles in it.
What year was those?
The push buttons?
Yeah.
Oh man, I know you could probably ask me that. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not really 100% sure. Tell you the truth, I don't remember.
Yeah, I won't call you. Somebody will mention it in the comments.
Yeah. Yep.
So what about this one? What made you decide to cut this one? This one's cut pretty hard.
This one's kind of radical.
Yeah. So how much did you take out of this one?
I don't remember on that neither. I probably took 4.5 out of this top.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lot.
But you know what? The T-Bird is kind of a sleek design, and it doesn't have a lot of body size.
It looks really good. It's thin bodied. So you can get away with the roof being chopped on it because the body's so thin on it. And there's a lot of weird stuff done, like the body line on the T-Bird where it drops down. I got rid of it and tapered it straight back.
That looks good.
It doesn't do the T-Bird drop. The skirts.
Yep,
bottom of the skirts are handmade and lengthened. The quarter panels in the rears lengthened and dropped down with a tube.
Yep.
Bottom of the rockers are tubed and flared out.
Yep.
So there's a lot of little stuff done to it. And the rest of the stuff's pretty much almost stock, like the trunk stock. The hood, I did a hood scoop in it. And a little bit of welding on the hood.
But there was such a, they were rocket ship dream rides when they came out. I mean, it's like people's mind were just blown when you saw them the first time, you know?
So this car here, this car sit on the hill over there, and John Buck come here and told me that I was Builder of the Year for Sacramento, and I had about 90 days to get a car done.
Oh, no!
So I thought, man, what am I going to do? I thought, you know what? I've been wanting to do it. I'm going to do my T-Bird. So that's what I did.
90 days,
90 days, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But, the beauty, too, about customs, let me take this the way I mean it. The simplicity of the design.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a radical amount of work.
But it doesn't look like it.
But it's what?
Doesn't look like it.
No. It looks extremely simple, yet so radical, yet so customized. And sometimes... Personally, I'm not an East Coast style guy where you just add stuff.
Right.
And bless their heart, their cars are cool too. But I like the simpler, traditional type of ways of doing it. And
yeah, me also. I don't do change for the sake of change.
Yeah.
If something looks cool, like from the factory, I will leave it alone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll enhance it, lower it a little bit, kind of put it where it should have been from the factory. I just try to make something look like if I was a designer from the factory, that's the way that I would have done it.
Or the way the designer meant for it to be before the bean counters and the engineers got a hold of it.
This is true. This is true.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, even if you think, you don't have a 40s car here, right? But, if you think about a top on a 40s coupe that's got a huge hump in the back.
A 40 Merc's ugliest roof stock in the world.
Yeah, and that was for people with hats.
Yep. Yeah.
You're right. That was right for the era. Yeah. Or like my International crew cab. The top it's ridiculously tall, right?
Yeah. How much you take out of it?
I took 4.5 inches out of it.
Oh,
net.
More. Yeah.
But people don't think it's chopped.
Yeah.
Because the proportions are correct.
Yeah. I did a 56 Dodge truck, and I think I took probably 5 inches out of it.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was stock.
Yeah. Because it came back down when you don't wear the Stetson hat,
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of those type of things to think about. And I mean, you'll see it in these pickups, too. They were tall because it was for farmers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that looks like it's stock to me.
Yeah.
That's 3 inches.
Yeah, it doesn't need, and that's kind of like 2 to 3 inches is a magical piece.
Yep, that's 3 inches out of that. It looks like that should have been stock.
Yep. Because the proportions, you have about a 70-30 body to greenhouse, roughly. Yeah. And I mean, it's not a golden rule, but it is a
good rule of thumb.
Good rule of thumb, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Boy, you have some projects going on.
Yeah, there's
in
a
here.
couple.
And, you know, but that's what years and years
Yeah,
make. Oh, look at all those sombreros over there.
I got a couple.
Wow. And what do we have there up on top?
That's the Gable, 41 Packard.
41 Packard,
Mm-hmm.
huh? That was how many years ago?
99 I started
99.
that car. So I think I finished it in probably 2001-ish. And then it did a little bit of showing in 2002, I believe, and then it got sold. It got sold fast,
Yeah.
and then it got put up in a private museum, and then it got sold again to Jerry Logan.
Yeah.
And Jerry Logan's had it to a few shows, and I think it's getting more. It's more popular now than it was the rest of
first
its
came
whole
out.
life when it first came out.
Yeah.
It's starting to see a little bit of a, people are starting to see it, and so. That car here, just for a couple little things I got to do. We're doing a tranny swap on it, a driveline tranny swap, upgrade wiring, and upgrade some air ride stuff on it.
Yeah.
So
Things got to be maintained. What's the deal with a Cadillac?
that was actually mine.
Yeah.
Got 500-inch caddy in it, 76 Seville clip, 76 rear end, bagged. Interior's done. Needs a few more hours put in it to fire the motor, and then hopefully I can drive it and have fun with it.
Yeah. That's a good color too.
Yeah, the color's good. It's a Cadillac color.
Yeah.
I'm going to add, it's a little bit boring a little bit to me, so the top's black, so I'm going to add some really fine line black scallops on the car, just so it's, I feel like it needs, since it's not chopped, I want it to have a little bit more custom feel.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to add some fine line black scallops on it, just to kind of tie it all together,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to drive it.
Very cool. I think you got a raw pickup right
Yeah,
there.
that's 58. That's going to be 58 cameo bed.
Okay.
Camaro clip. That has an LS in it,
Okay.
but it's going to be a cool little truck.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Then you got this traditional one right here.
This is a traditional 39 Ford convertible
39 Ford convertible
Yeah.
with some history.
with some history. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was definitely a history car. Started in 1939. Finished in probably 1946, 1947. It was on the cover of Hot Rod 1948.
Wow.
So
And it was sectioned.
chopped and sectioned.
Chopped and sectioned.
Yep.
And it was a coupe, or it was?
It was originally, they were a pair of them. There were two coupes, and then
Yeah.
they took and made this coupe into a convertible in '39.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
In
they're literally brand. They were
1939.
both brand new.
Brand new cars.
And I can't remember the guys who did the work on it, the sectioning and the pancaking the hood, and they did phenomenal for gas welding. It was very impressive. I mean, sometimes you see some stuff that was really crude.
Yeah.
Their work was really awesome.
It's so cool when you see that. You know, some people tend to say that some of the old school ways were rough, but there are ways, or there were
I would
ways.
have said I would have agreed with them
Yeah.
up until this car.
Yeah.
I've redone some cars that were like, wow, this is crazy. Then I thought, didn't they own a tape measure? Because everything's crooked. They just winged it.
Yeah.
This car was different. This car was like whoever did the section on the hood and then some work on this car was craftsman.
Yeah. And and just like today, in today's world, you have the people that work in a concept facility, and you have the people that work in a backyard.
Yeah.
And they will do different work. That doesn't make it wrong.
No, it
it's
doesn't
right
make it
for
right.
them.
Yep.
At that time, Pat. But you have to be careful what you ask for and know what you're buying.
Yeah.
You know, neither of it is wrong. It's just a different budget.
Wrong.
So what's this thing?
That's actually my wife's.
Your wife's car.
There was
Okay.
a customer. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
happens.
never got to see the car done. That was sad because he came in here one day and told me he had about 3 weeks to live. So I called my other customers and I told them, I'm going to put all your guys' cars on hold for 3 weeks. I want to see this car done for him. And about 2 weeks later, his brother walked in and says, hey, he passed away. So that's where I was at with it. It was almost time, almost ready to. It fires and runs. It was almost. He could have almost drove another week. He could have drove it.
Yeah.
And long story short, the family put the car for sale. I ended up buying it for my wife.
Yep.
So that's my wife's car. So hopefully she can drive it next summer. I'm hoping.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm gonna do front windshield, rear glass, a Mexican blanket on the seat.
Yep.
Put the chrome back on it and let her drive it. So
Yep.
a little bit of brake work and she's good to go.
Yeah. I'm getting to a point where the paint's getting so darn expensive, just the material alone.
Yeah.
That I'm like,
this is what I noticed about paint, and I'm probably shooting myself in the foot. But I mean, all my cars are exotic paint, candies, pearls, kind of high end stuff. But I realize that for myself personally, and this isn't for everybody, but for myself personally, the funnest a car has ever been for me isn't really so much taking them to all the shows and doing all that, but it's actually maybe driving them to the show.
Yeah.
And having fun with them, not really worried about it. Because I know once I got my Merc painted green, which became Bad Apple,
Yeah.
I probably put 1,000 miles on it versus 35,000 miles on it when it was in primer.
Yeah.
And them years of when I was driving it, wanting it finished, looking back, hindsight, looking back,
fun.
that was the most fun that I ever had in a car.
Yep.
Was going to Walmart in it. There was a time when that was the only car I had.
Yeah.
I had no other car, I had no other truck. That was our car to drive.
That was the truck.
That was the truck, that was the car. So if I wanted to go get paint or I wanted to go get something, that's what I had to drive. When
Take
we
the kids to school. And
hey, not joking. And looking back, my kid said, do you remember us taking me to school in the Merc? I said, I remember. They said, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So, thinking back then when I was thinking, this sucks driving the Merc every day, for probably the coolest time that I ever drove in the car was having to go get groceries and putting the groceries in the back seat and in the trunk and actually using it.
Making memories.
Yeah. And looking back, it was actually awesome. So I'm really glad,
No, I'm totally with you. I have stopped painting most of my stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same with the Mini Merc. When I've been to Mini Merc, it was from 85-ish to 89 when it debuted at the Grand National in Oakland. I drove it everywhere.
Yeah.
I drove it to work. That was my transportation.
Yeah.
And the same thing. And the memories I have with all my friends everywhere, and thank you Keith and Rod for making that stuff happen. They were a huge inspiration for that one. But driving that thing, I remember early on, this is before San Francisco went kind of downhill, but I lived in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And I lived in San Mateo, Burlingame area, and I drove to Berkeley for work.
Wow.
And coming through San Francisco, when you come through the trees on 101 and San Francisco opens up before you go over the bridge with the Mini Merc, it's like, it's a whole different feeling.
It's a whole different feeling.
And then we painted it.
Yeah. Then you didn't probably drive it as much, huh?
No. And the first thing I did, we finished it all. It was 5 guys that worked in our body shop that helped a lot. A lot. There's very few times when any of my cars ever been built with just me.
Yeah.
But so we finish it, and it's like 11:30 at night, and the body shop's in the dungeon downstairs. So there's a ramp up to the upstairs, and you go through the mechanic shops, and there's a gate right there. And I'm so freaking happy. We're all done. We're ready. Tomorrow morning, we're putting it in the Grand National Oak Rosa show, which was huge for me at the time. And I did a 3,000 RPM clutch drop and burned rubber up the ramp and kind of jumped a little bit on top.
Yeah.
And I stopped at the gate, opened the gate, and I walked back towards the car, and I see the reflection in the side, and the quarter panel cracked above the wheel.
No way.
Somebody at some point had replaced the quarter and spliced it right over the wheel well.
Wow.
And I never fixed it. It was a crack about this long.
Wow.
It just split.
Yeah.
And that was I'm like, why did I paint it?
Yeah.
But I just parked that side up against the wall, and every time I did something, and I never fixed it.
Yeah.
That was like that was the bruise.
Yeah. The same thing on the T-Bird. That got away on the front of the hood. Came out of the trailer here, going to a show. Came loose. Got a little damage on the front of the hood.
Oh yeah.
And got
more scallops.
Yeah, you know what? I was talking to a friend of mine who did the gold leaf for me, Pee Wee. He's a local pinstriper, awesome pinstriper here in Orville.
Yeah.
And he did the gold leaf years ago.
That's
and we were
fantastic.
talking the other day about it. I was telling him I add some more gold leaf and stuff. I can't get that variegated gold leaf no more.
Oh, no.
No, they don't make it. So that's the real deal right there. That's all real gold leaf. And so
And you can't get it anymore?
Apparently not, but I'm going to find some somewheres. If anybody is watching.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
They have any real old school variegated gold leaf.
Yeah, please let us know.
I'm in need.
Yeah, we're not going to show the boo-boo.
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But the boo-boo, it's the same. I painted my Chevy, and my daughter had her hands full of books, and the door didn't close all the way, so she used this part,
Yeah.
and put a 5-inch dent in the door.
Yeah, it happens. Stuff happens.
Yep.
Babysitting the cars that are finished are kind of a little bit of a pain.
Yep.
And I don't have the place really to store finished cars the way you should. So.
Yeah, let's see. You remember John Lemoyne's blue low flyer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got to spend quite a bit of time in that one too.
Yeah.
It's another really well done.
I haven't talked to him lately. I feel guilty. You made me feel guilty. I need to call him.
No, it's all right. He should be feeling guilty. Let's go give him a guilt trip.
Yeah.
'Cause he was supposed to be here today.
Hey, John, what's up?
Yeah. Good. He's like, oh, is this today?
Yeah.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah.
No,
I would like to see him.
Yeah, but hopefully this won't be the last time I'm here.
Yeah.
But it is just so cool to walk around there. Oh, I promised them to see the Cadillac.
Oh, yeah.
And you got a rad one sitting here too.
That's a 58 Caddy. Going to be a nice car. Frame off. Did a lot of work on the frame. Powder coated the frame.
That's the one sitting on the trailer
That's the
down
one
there.
sitting on the trailer.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Got a Camaro clip and bagged and linked and going to be a cool car. This is also Jerry Logan's.
And now it's time for Oz's latest and greatest. Here he comes. And we're back. I don't know, I've been doing that for so long, people just freak out, Sorry about that. We're just doing improvising in the booth at Oz Kustoms out in Orville. And this is the latest, greatest, coolest, craziest Cadillac I've seen in a long time.
This can be cool.
The amount of work is just insane. So we'll do it in a little bit of segments, but I'm just going to let Oz tell us what he did, because this looks like a stock car. It has ornaments, it has grills, it got bumpers, it got headlights with trim on it, which is crazy.
Different.
To consider, since we are at Oz.
Yeah.
But there's a method to the madness behind there. So why don't you start from the windshield cowl, because I really love that feature right here.
A little sweetheart dip.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that is so sexy, you know? What did you do? What is the car?
The car started off life as a 41 Caddy coupe.
Okay.
And so the top was cut off it, and I didn't like the look of a Carson top on a coupe car, because it doesn't look, you can always tell, you can spot it like that if it's a coupe or...
Yeah, that's a little bit more of a...
Exactly. They're not flat here, they're arched. And so anyways, I had a 47 header.
Okay.
That I actually bought when I was doing my 47 Caddy.
Okay.
So I had the header laying around. And then when I got the car, started doing on the car, I thought, I'm like you. I love this sweetheart dip. 41 didn't have that. 47 had a 46, 47.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to graft it on the car. So I cut it off, put it on here. I really love that dip also. So this the upper header area and the stainless around the window is 47 Caddy.
Wow. It's just beautiful. It's just adding special trim is something I think some people forget the value of,
And on this car here, it's a different feel and a different look that we're going for. We're going for more of a 40s period correct car with a lot of heavy chrome. Yeah. So we still have the trunk hinges on it, door handles, not from this car.
Yeah.
But door handles on the car. a lot of heavier, bigger, bulky pieces of chrome on the car, just to look, the cars in the 40s had a lot of chrome.
Yeah.
Instead of blowing everything off and all the moldings and everything off the thing, I moved moldings around. I dropped the moldings down. I added moldings in the back and cut them down, so there's still jewelry on the car.
Yeah. Which is appropriate for the style and model.
Exactly. Yep.
So the hood.
Okay, the hood.
Where do we start?
The hood was too wide for the car, so I sectioned the hood down the middle. And then when I got to the front, I like my peaks and I like sharp lines. So this was, obviously welded and peaked to here.
Yeah.
This is 47 caddy here.
Okay.
The hood is different on a 41 caddy versus a 47 caddy because you have the mass.
Okay.
Bigger hood, bigger front end on the 41. In 47, they start slimming stuff down, which is still a beautiful car too.
Yeah.
But I like the 41 hood. It was a little hard right here, so this is all being cut and English welded new pieces in here to soften these corners up here. But to make this hood fit, sliced down the middle both sides, welded here, cut, welded. All the gaps around, I kept track of it, I measured everything. 518 inches of solid welding in that hood. That's insane.
518 inches of weld in the hood alone.
In the hood alone. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, you should charge by the inch.
Oh, that would be awesome. I wish I did.
But it looks so good. I mean, the lines are sweeping, they're even. It's got that sex appeal.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
absolutely has that sex appeal.
It has the smoothness. It has the bulkiness. It has it all. It has what we were looking for.
And again, so 500, what did you say?
518.
518 inches, and it looks like a stock hood.
Yeah, it looks like you didn't do nothing.
Yeah. All right, so the headlights, they threw me for a loop. I didn't even, I'm coming, what are you got chrome headlights put them on? What's going on?
They're actually getting popular now. People are running them on Chevys and different stuff. So anyway, they're 53 caddy eyebrows.
Okay.
And so I always wondered how come you don't really see 53 caddies on a 41 caddy, because it looks like it would, fits a car well. When you put them on here, you realize that the 41 fender was bigger.
Yeah.
About like a half inch all the way around, too big for the bezel itself.
Yeah.
And then the lines don't line up on the fender. So literally had to take and cut and hand make all this top of the fender, and this whole peak is all handmade. So this is all brand new made, that part of the fender, just to get the flow, so if you get down here and you look, the flow flows into to here, and everything flows in here, right? Otherwise, it looks like you just stuck a wrong part on a car.
But I mean, that's also one of the things about customizing. You made a change that looks so good, it could have been stock.
It looks stock.
Yeah.
They look stock on there.
And so it just works. It just plain works.
47 caddy grill.
Okay.
A little bit different grill than the 41, so did 47 grill. 47 front bumpers. All the pans are handmade. All the front pans, front rear pans are handmade. I grafted part of the 41. I really like this part out of the 41, so I cut it down and made it match the 47 bumper, but these peaks were originally 41. I just took and cut them all up and
I love how they actually matched with the grill.
Yeah.
Even though it's a different year grill.
Yeah.
And I love these bumperettes too.
I like them too.
Yeah.
47 is probably your sexiest bumper you can probably get.
Yeah. What a car.
The Goddess is 41 caddy.
I love hood ornaments.
Yeah, I like them too.
It's weird. I mean, that was for the longest time now. Oh, you got to get them off. Got to get them off.
I shaved so much stuff up, door handles and all that stuff. I'm really liking a lot of the jewelry on the cars now. It's just kind of a different feel, different air, different time.
Well, a lot of times too, it's like what people forget. It's like when you build a car with a theme.
Yeah.
No, you got to stay true to it.
You got to stay true to your theme. Otherwise, and several people do that.
Yeah.
And not that it's right or wrong, but you need to, if you're going to do a 40s car, it's a totally different car than a 50s car.
Yeah.
So if you're going to follow the 40s theme or late 30s theme, there's a procedure. For sure.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong. If you want to build an East Coast style car and load it all up with the stuff that fits an East Coast car theme. Hallelujah, build that.
Yeah.
But stay true to it.
Yeah.
Don't mix the stuff up because sometimes it just doesn't work.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah. But I love how all this stuff flows and has that original look.
Yeah.
What did you say the door handles
40 Ford.
40 Ford. But they're so sleek.
Yeah, that's why I kind of chose them because they're, little teardrop, Art Deco.
Yeah. They look like they belong there.
Yeah, they look like they belong there.
And the window frames. I mean, this is another thing that most people have a hard time with. Doing the window.
Yeah, cutting all the window and getting them right. These are all handmade here. This was just out of 1/2-inch mild steel stock, and I took it, cut it out, and then bend it.
How do you weld that stuff?
I actually don't weld. I used to do it. I have a rod that you can weld the pot metal. But the chrome shops like doing it anymore, or they warranty better if they weld it. So we just pay them to weld it.
Okay, so you just cut them and bolt
them
together?
Exactly. I make all my brackets up to hold them all together. And I make a bracket from here to here and drill them, put them in there. So when they weld them, then when they're done, they pull the brackets in, they weld up the 2 little holes.
Yeah.
So then they fit the way they're supposed to fit.
Tech tip from Oz.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. So who do you use for chrome?
Well, normally Sherm's.
Yeah.
Out of Sacramento. They're been our go-to chrome shop for a lot of years. This chrome shop here, we went to Advanced Chrome in Tennessee.
Okay.
Is who we used, and pretty happy with it. Turned out really nice. But Sherm's is really good too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you find a shop, you get comfortable working with them, and pay a fair price. Yeah. Because it ain't cheap, especially in California. With the regulations that are here, it's chrome is very, very difficult.
Yeah, this was expensive too in Tennessee.
It's not cheap anymore.
No.
And if you take it across the border, there's a risk involved too.
Exactly. Yep. And then you do get cheap.
Yeah.
But
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Come on, girl.
So, and the color, man. The color is just gorgeous.
Yeah, the colors. Plural.
So how many layers?
I don't really know how many layers. There's got to be 15 or so layers on there.
Yeah.
What
do you got on the bottom?
Black.
Like at paint wise?
Black.
You start with black.
Mm-hmm. Black, pearl black is my base.
Okay.
And then I started doing root beer browns. And then I started adding a little bit of a candy tangerine in the root beer brown, through the middle of the car, down the console, and in the window frames.
That's why it has a little...
An amber look to it.
Yeah.
Orangey amber look to it. And then as it makes this transition here, this is stronger root beer here. And then you can see the root beer here versus here.
Yeah.
And then it's candy red, about 3 coats of candy red over the root beer brown here, blended into here. So it goes from kind of an amber look
now it makes sense.
Into root beer to candy red.
So where did you pick up that fade job ideas?
You know what? I don't see hardly fading candies. A lot of people fade pearls.
Yeah.
But I like having fun what I do. So when I get in here, I just do what I want to do and just wing it and just go with it. And that's what I was feeling. So.
But it really highlights the car. I mean, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like makeup on a girl. When they put the colors and fade and stuff. And
So I wanted something different. I've done root beer cars, I've done red cars, I've done tangerine cars, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different that kind of maybe makes a car pop a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I love
that's cut down Kaiser, and I cut it down a lot.
It's way cut down.
Yeah.
I recognize it because it's like that's what we're working on for
Yes,
mini
exactly. Yeah. So
that would be a little wider, but I don't have these.
Exactly. Yeah,
either, So
if it was wider, it started getting busier. So I started off out here and worked my way down until it kind of reminds me of a little bit of it doesn't look like it, but it reminds me of 49 Chevy license plate, the little trim just goes around the license plate. So then the exhaust come through the bumpers.
Yeah.
Bumper ends and.
Wow, just so cool looking. And I can't wait to see it with a top,
Yeah, so at least in about 2 weeks it goes to Bob Devine's, and then the top will get upholstery from him in the interior. The interior is going to be mohair on this one, a little different. So, and the
This
color,
goes with the theme.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What a car. What a car. Look at that dash. I'm going to come around the other side. Oh, it does, is it wood grain in there?
It's wood grained.
Actually, if you go past
Yep,
me,
you
and I'll
got
go. You get a better view from over there. Wow. Yeah, we're doing a 40 Pontiac right now where we have wood grain down.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah,
man.
I'm liking the wood grain also.
And it fits with the theme.
It does fit.
It does fit with the
Yep.
theme.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of insulation.
Yep.
Everybody likes insulation
Yeah.
nowadays.
And then all the inside latches and all the stuff are chrome,
Yep.
just to keep it clean and
Did you hear that? Clickety click.
yeah, no slamming.
Yeah, and it lines up beautifully.
The inside was waterfall. You know, I made all the
Oh, I missed that
a
one.
waterfall, and that's also
Wow.
in the center. The waterfall I made right there. That is a 47 caddy, also hood ornament.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost floating.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful way to do it. Is it T-bird seats?
The T-bar wraparound rear seats, yes,
Wow. And AC.
and AC.
Yep. This car's got it all. So how long have you spent on this? I mean, 518 inches of weld just in the hood.
It was here for a while, and one of the original owners on the car, Val Tompkins out of A&A Cadillac, passed away, and so the car got put on hold.
Yeah.
And then
that happens.
a new customer came in and purchased the car, and now the car's getting finished.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate. What's the best part? What do you love the best about this car? What was the coolest part of doing this one? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
Maybe the funnest was the paint.
yeah.
Just because, you know, you're in the booth after all the hours and hours of blocking and primer and blocking and getting everything ready to paint. Then once you're painting, it's like that's the artistic part of it that you have fun with.
Yeah.
And so I think spraying it probably was the funnest.
It's kind of like putting the jewelry on.
Yes, exactly. The assembling's going nice, and you know, the more pieces you put on it, the more exciting it gets.
Yeah. Can we open it and see if
Yeah, sure.
get a little bit of different light on it?
Yep, and it will change it.
It's going to be spectacular in the sun, you know.
It is crazy in the sun.
Look at that reflection! Holy moly! when you let the light fall on it and you kind of walk with it, you can kind of see how many hours he's got in actually blocking this thing.
Yeah, there's a few.
And I mean, you look at that line going across the line of the hood, and it stays straight. It stays true.
Exactly. So you're picking up on what you should pick up on.
Well, I mean, that's what makes a difference, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When none of those lines are broken, you know you're back straight.
Yeah.
You know? And then we got flush-mounted skirts
Flush
coming
mounted
on
skirts.
too.
A little bit different flush mounted skirts because I don't want it to be totally smooth flush mounted skirts. So they kind of roll down, and you can see a small flare here.
Okay.
So they kind of flare into the 41 Buick skirts, and they kind of roll out and then down. So
Nice. So they have some shape to it.
They do have some shape to them.
Beautiful. What a treat. What a treat. This is just one of those things that you get from Oz Welch Customs on here in Oroville. Wow, what a treat this has been. Look at that color. Look at the chrome. I can't wait for episode 2. You get to see what I'm planning on doing with the fresh stuff coming after the yard crawl, which is coming right up right now. Love a little yard crawl, don't you? Just got to spend a little time out in the yard before Oz came. Wow, look at that Buick. Wow. Another wagon. Anyhow, in episode 2, we're going to look deeper into the finished cars and a little bit of the story on each of them. And I've been gathering pictures and fun stuff for that. But here's a little more from Oz, and then we're going to go into the preview of episode 2. So this was one of the things that caught my eye in the boneyard. And actually the camera sitting on the top of the chopped caddy that you saw earlier. And I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to come up here and hear your story, a little bit of your story, and see all the cool stuff that you're working on. And I know some people would say this is a junkyard, and some people would say it's a heaven.
Yeah.
You know. And one of the stops I'm going to make is at my buddy Sergio, and he's into COEs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's down in Porterville.
Yes.
And, you know, I call that the COE heaven.
Yeah, he does some cool stuff.
Oh, my God, he does some really cool. And he's a different type of guy. He's not a customizer like you are, but he's just all COE and then motors and trannies and just all the other stuff. But then he says he doesn't know sheet metal, but he has a bus, a school bus, a short bus, that he's putting a COE front.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, you're a customizer. You know what to do, you know? So it's cool to have so many friends around, and he's helping me with some parts for another one that I'm doing too. So, but yeah, when I walk around, it makes me think about when I had my place, and like I told you, it was 68 cars when it was the worst, and or the best.
Yeah, one of the two.
We even had the Sucker 8 racetrack in the back.
Yeah.
We did Demolition Derby for 6 years in a row.
Wow.
We had 6 cars.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, you know how that goes. It's just crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been a true pleasure to see and all that. And I think on the outside, this is one of my favorites. What you're doing with the top is very exciting.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I mean, yeah, I've always been a fan of your T-Bird, your Bullet Bird, and your green one. Ever since there's where the green one is there, and it's a reflection in something.
Oh, John took that.
Yeah, that shot has been in my mind for many years too, before I even knew of you. Yeah, you know, and to see it here now when you're doing the roof swap is crazy. So. But anything else you want to tell? How do they get a hold of you?
I'm hard to get a hold of.
You're hard to get a hold of?
Facebook's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Facebook's the easiest. Oz Welch.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I see most of the stuff. You know, and just send them a message on there if you want to get your stuff customized.
Yeah, and I might not get to you for 3 or 4 days, but I will get back to you.
Yeah.
So
do you have a wait list, or kind of, or you just?
Yeah, there's people waiting. There's people in that shed over there, right over there, waiting, just waiting patiently.
Yeah. So you might want to wait a little bit.
You might want to wait.
Yeah.
Or get in line.
Yeah. Or buy something that is.
Started. Yeah. That's possible.
Yeah. You never know. Well. Here we are, getting excited about episode 2. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, digging deeper. More about Oz in the next one. But again, thank you so much.
Thank you
really
very
appreciate
much.
it.
No problems. Appreciate it.
All right, you know what to do. If you like what you see, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, all those good things.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. So we end with a teaser of some of the cars Oz has done over the years and that you might see more of in episode 2. I want to just say ever so big of a thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Oz, for a wonderful day. See ya.